دیده ای، یا آن که پا به پای یتیمان دویده ای؟ آیا به پای ناز شما خار رفته است؟ آیا به پای ناز شما خار رفته است، یا پاکی بر روی زمینت کشانده است؟ امشب کنار کشته مولا چه می‌کنی؟ امشب بدن مطهر آباد بی کفن در صحرا مانده. امشب کنار کشته مولا چه می‌کنی؟ با قامت خمیده زهرا چه می‌کنی؟ همنوا بشیم با نوای امام عصر در زیارت ناحیه مقدسه. السلام علی القتیل المظلوم، سلام بر آن کشته مظلوم. السلام علی اخیه المسموم، سلام بر برادر مسمومش امام حسن مجتبی. السلام علی علی الکبیر، سلام بر علی اکبر. السلام علی الرضیع الصغیر، سلام بر آن شیرخوار کوچک. سلام های است امام عصر. السلام علی الابدان الصلیبه، سلام بر آن بدنهای به صلیب کشیده شده. السلام علی العطرة الطیبه، سلام بر آن خانواده‌ای که همراه امام بودند. السلام علی المجدلین فی الفلوات، سلام بر آن خاک بیابان افتادگان. السلام علی النازحین عن الاوطان، سلام بر آن دور افتادگان از وطنها. السلام علی المدفونین بلا اکفان، سلام بر آن دفن شدگان بدون کفن. السلام علی الرؤوس المفرقة عن الابدان، سلام بر آن سرهای جدا شده از بدن. السلام علی المحتسب الصابر، سلام بر آن حسابگر نفس خویش و شکیبا. السلام علی المظلوم بلا ناصر، سلام بر آن مظلوم بدون یار و یاور. السلام علی ساکن التربة الزاکیه، سلام بر آن ساکن تربت و خاک پاک. السلام علی صاحب القبة السامیه، سلام بر آن صاحب بارگاه عالی رتبه. امشب امام عصر محزون هستند، شام غریبان است. اجساد شهدا در بیابان مانده، خانواده امام به اسارت گرفته شدند. ما هم دردی میکنیم و میگیم آجرک الله یا صاحب الزمان فی مصیبت جدک المظلوم الشهید. دعوت میکنم از برادر عزیزمان ناصر قاسم موسوی تا با قرائت قرآن روشن بخش محفل ما باشه به برکت صلوات بر محمد و آل محمد. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. تبارك الذي الذي خلق الموت والحياة ليبلوكم أيكم أحسن عملا. الذي خلق الموت والحياة
البصر كرتين ينقلب إليك البصر خاسئا وهو حسير صدق الله العلي العظيم اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد اللهم صل
اگر خاطر دوستان باشد دوشنبه قبل عرض کردیم که سابقه عزاداری و مدبر برای امام سابقه فراخنای تاریخ از وجود حضرت آدم ابوالبشر تا خاتم اوصیا تا امام عصر که فرازهای از عبارت نافع مقدسه را خواندیم در تمامی انبیا و اولیا وجود داشته. حدیث درس شد از حضرت موسی علیه السلام، حدیث درس شد از وجود نازنین پیامبر اکرم. همچنین در حدیث دیگری پیامبر اکرم صلی الله علیه و آله و سلم می‌فرمایند الا و صلی الله علی الباکین علی الحسین رحمتا و شفقتا. آگاه باشید که خداوند بر گریه کنندگان بر حسین از روی رحمت و شفقت درود می‌فرستد. و چه جایگاهی است گریه کننده بر حسین، چه جایگاهی است که الا و صلی الله علی الباکین علی الحسین. خدا بر گریه کن حسین درود می‌فرستد. همچنین امام صادق علیه السلام می‌فرمایند انه علیه السلام لیرى من یبکیه فیستغفر له رحمت الله. حقا که حسین کسی را که بر او گریه می‌کند می‌بیند و به خاطر رحمت برایش استغفار می‌کند. همه ما در محضر حضرت عبدالله هستیم، در مجلس ایشان. امیدواریم که نام ما در زمره عزاداران واقعی حضرت قرار بگیرد به برکت صلوات بر محمد و آل محمد. در فرازهای دیگری از زیارت ناحیه مقدسه، زیارتی که امام زمان برای جد غریبش امام حسین ذکر کردن وارد شده السلام علی الحسین الذی سمح نفسه بمحجته. سلام بر حسینی که جان خود را فدای خدای خود کرد. السلام علی من اطاع الله فی سره و علانیته. سلام بر آن کسی که در آشکارا و نهان از خداوند اطاعت کرد. السلام علی من الاجابة تحت قبته. سلام بر آن کسی که دعا تحت قبه او مستجاب است. السلام علی من الائمة من ذریته. سلام بر آن کسی که ائمه نهگانه از ذریه اویند. السلام علی ابن خاتم الانبیاء. السلام علی ابن سید الاوصیاء. السلام على ابن فاطمة الزهراء. السلام على ابن خديجة الكبرى. السلام على ابن سدرة المنتهى. سلام بر فرزند سدرة المنتهى. السلام على ابن جنة المأوى. السلام على ابن زمزم والصفا. السلام على غريب الغرباء. السلام على شهيد الشهداء. السلام على قتيل الأدعياء. السلام على ساكن كربلاء. السلام على من بكته ملائكة السماء. سلام بر آن امامی که ملائکه آسمان بر او گریه کردند. السلام علی من ذریته الازکیا. سلام بر آن امامی که ذریه او از جمله پاکان و طاهران. امیدواریم که خداوند متعال معرفت بده ما رو، معرفت به حق بده نسبت به وجود نازنین حضرت عبدالله حسین. دعوت میکنیم از برادر بزرگوارمان آقای شرافت سلطانی تا برنامه مخصوص زبان انگلیسی برای کودکانمان رو ایراد بفرمایند تا تشریف فرمایی ایشان. صلوات بر محمد.
Please recite another salawat for Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. In the name of Allah, the most merciful and beneficial. Tonight is called the Shami Mariban. So anyone who is away from their homeland, hometown, they're called Gharib in Farsi. Our Ahlul Bayt, the family of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, was Gharib tonight. They didn't have their men beside them. Hazrat Imam Hussein alayhi salam and his companions were all martyred, and they're all been taken to custody as a result. Before I give you a bit of information about this, we will follow a normal trend and we'll learn about our ninth Imam. Can one of you tell me who is our ninth Imam? Ali, you know? You raise your hand, well done. Anyone else? Awesome. No, not very well done. Okay, oh, give a chance to sit now. Imam Jawad, thank you. Awesome, well done as well. So after has taken the book, she's going to read it for us and we're going to learn by her arrival. Please salawati bar Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Why was he named Imam al-Jawad alayhi salam? Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. The wedding hall was decorated with silk curtains and expensive couches. Servants and maids walked around, serving the guests delicious foods and fancy drinks. The air was filled with the scent of a sweet perfume, and the room was buzzing with joy. The guests, dressed in their most beautiful clothes, were eagerly awaiting the entrance of the groom, Imam Muhammad al-Jawad alayhi salam. Soon, Imam al-Jawad alayhi salam entered the lavish hall in simple clothing and with a serious face. Upon seeing him, Mamoon forced a smile as he ran forward to welcome him. He took the Imam's hand and led him to a beautiful couch. On the other side of the beautiful golden curtain, the women sat around Mamoon's daughter, al-Sawd, who would soon become Imam al-Jawad's wife. While this may have looked like the perfect wedding, it was all just a clever trick by the evil caliph, Mamoon. You see, Mamoon forced Imam al-Jawad alayhi salam to marry his daughter so he could keep the Imam alayhi salam close to him and make sure that he didn't overthrow Mamoon's kingdom. As the wedding ceremony began, the Imam alayhi salam sadly read his own nikah. When the nikah was finished, everyone began clapping loudly and happily except the Imam alayhi salam. You see, Imam al-Jawad alayhi salam knew that this wedding was all just part of Mamoon's evil plans. However, no one else seemed to notice that no one else seemed to notice the sad look on Mamun's face. Mamun wanted everyone to think he was very generous, so he ordered the servants to bring out large plates filled with rice, meat, fruits, and desserts of all kinds. Once all the guests had eaten more than they could handle, Mamun signaled for his servants to bring out the surprise gifts. The servants, dressed in special uniforms, came from all the corners out of the room, holding trays filled with small golden boxes. They handed them to the excited guests, who couldn't wait to tear open the boxes and see what was inside. Inside each box, there was a special note on which the caliph had written, "I owe you. I owe you note." These notes stated the guests that would receive either gold bars, silver coins, or even a house. The guests couldn't believe their eyes and were overcome with excitement. However, everyone soon began wondering what was written on each other's papers, and some started to feel envious of others. But before they could say anything, another set of servants came out, passing out bags of gold coins to each guest. Everyone became even happier and started praising and thanking Mamun, not knowing that he was doing all of this just to show off. For a third time, another set of servants came out. This time, they were carrying plates shaped like boats with very expensive perfumes. Each guest sprayed themselves with beautiful scents. Just then, Mamun called for everyone's attention. The guests fell silent, excited for Mamun's big announcement. Mamun reached for a long scroll of paper and began reading out loud all the items he would be gifting Imam al-Jawad alayhi salam. You would think that the Imam alayhi salam would be thrilled with all the gifts he was getting, but Imam al-Jawad alayhi salam didn't seem happy at all. He knew that Mamun's intentions were not sincere. However, the guests were in awe over all the gifts he was to receive. After Mamun finished speaking, the guests laughed joyfully, astonished at how generous Mamun had been. As the wedding came to an end, the guests clutched their gifts close to their chests and left the party feeling overjoyed with everything they had received. How foolish the guests had been. You see, Mamun's generosity was fake. He had stolen most of his money and thought that by giving it away, the people would think he was a generous and kind caliph. He did not understand that real generosity is when someone gives out of their own belongings to the needy only for the sake of Allah. You see, it was really Imam al-Jawad alayhi salam who showed us what true generosity is. When the Imam alayhi salam went to Mecca, he took all of his wealth and divided it amongst the poor and needy. After Hajj, he decided to leave Khorasan and return to his hometown, Medina. He left the lavish castle that Mamun had given him and instead found a small, simple home to live in. He was happier in the small home where he spent all his time praying and showing kindness to others. One day, some of Imam al-Jawad's companions from Khorasan came to visit him. When they entered the Imam's simple house, they were shocked. The Imam's home in Khorasan had been so much grand and magnificent. It had everything you could imagine, but this house only had one simple carpet on the floor. So you see, generosity is not a rich king, like Mamun giving gifts to show off. True generosity is when someone gives out of the things they love for the sake of Allah. Imam al-Jawad alayhi salam had given away all his wealth to the poor during the time of Hajj. Now, like most of the people in town, he lived a very simple life. It was because of all the generosity that he was given the title Al-Jawad the Generous. Imam Al-Jawad alayhi salam gave up the lavish lifestyle he was offered and instead chose to give his wealth to the poor and live a humble life for the sake of Allah. How may any of us think we could do the same? O Allah, for the sake of Imam Al-Jawad alayhi salam, give us all the tawfiq to be truly generous and give from those things which we love. Salawat.
Amazingly read. Thank you, our friend. Please recite another salawat for Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad for our friend's well-being. I have no intention of talking about generosity today, however, it occurred as I was listening to you. So Jawad means generous. And there was stories of how Ma'amun gifted so much of his wealth to people. And when it was brought to Imam Jawad, he said, this is not a true generosity, it's a show-off. Because the number of gifts that he would have given is not going to cut much of his wealth at all. True generosity is when you cut so much of your wealth in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we saw that last night in this majlis. So many of your parents has been so generous, they give out so much of their wealth in the way of Allah to hopefully for us to be able to buy or build a Hussainia. I noticed a young youth or a young man, Mahdi, he pulled out his account, he only had $700 in there, and he donated 500 of it towards the Hussainia. That is generosity. But what I also want you guys to know and learn from this majlis, because we're getting towards the end of the majalis. Tomorrow night is our last one. My son is going to read about 10th Imam, probably in simpler way. And then I'll explain a little bit about 11 and 12, and we're going to conclude. One thing you might be wondering is why are we crying in this majlis? So you might have realized or noticed your parents, your father, your mom, brothers, or other siblings crying. So we said Imam Hussain alayhi salam was a man of God, sinless. So we read about our 12 Imams. We learned that they were so close to God. In fact, we know now a lot of people are traveling to Karbala and asks for their need. So they go to Karbala and say, "Oh Imam Hussain, give me wealth. Oh Imam Hussain, I would like a son, I would like a daughter. Oh Imam Hussain, I've got this problem, please solve it for me." And he has the power to solve it and give those things. If he's a powerful man, not because he can do it, because he's so close to God. If he's so powerful, why are we crying for him? In Islam, it's not recommended to cry and grieve for so long for if you lose your loved ones. In fact, it's recommended to try to get on with your life as soon as you can. But after 1400 years, we're still crying for Imam Hussain. Why is that? We learned last night that God has created us, the universe, and all the universe, and He sent messengers and Imams and left us with Qur'an. some of the things God tells us, we may not understand now why is it the case. We don't know why God has ordered us to pray 2 rak'ah namaz in the morning. Why not 4 rak'ah? Why not 1? Or why is it not a little bit later? We don't have the answer for it. But we believed in God. There was enough reason for us to say there is God who has created us, the prophets, and our Imam has proved that. We said, okay, if we believe in God, whatever law the God gives us, we don't really need to ask questions about it. Some of the things we may need to ask questions, so we know we're doing the right thing, we're following the path of Islam, but some of the things we just need to obey what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said. Crying for Imam Hussein alayhi salam has been pretty much ordered by Allah. Because everything our Prophet says is a word of Allah. And our Prophet did say, and all our Imams, if you cry for our Imam Hussein alayhi salam, it's considered a good deed. And then we want to know, what are we crying for? Is it because he was martyred and there was so many bad stuff happened to them? That might be one of the reasons. It's quite sad to know someone who is so close to God, a sinless person, a truthful person, dies in the society with people like us. So people who were against Imams, they were like us. I think we cry because we want to yell at Allah and say, Ya Allah, we don't want to be making decisions where we get against the truth, because it's hard to make those type of decisions. All of those who stand against our Imam, they were Muslim. They called themselves Muslims, I should say. I hope it's given you a little bit of light. I understand it's not enough in this majalis to learn all about it, but at least you know we are mostly crying because to give out our own emotion, and because it's been ordered from Allah, and I think that is a cure, that is a cause of relieving our pain, our stress, and also other mental issues. But also that we're getting closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we have our last session tomorrow night. I will have a little bit more for you. Please recite Salawat by Muhammad or Ala Muhammad.
MashaAllah.
برای سلامتی این نام نهالای ما که هر شب میآیند گوش میدن، صلوات دوم بلندتر.